What's up, everyone? This week we take a look back at that 5-0 thrashing of New Boys LAFC, and we look ahead to a really big top-of-the-table clash with NYCFC. All that and more coming up.
Welcome to the show, 5 Star Fam. I'm AJ, this is Tanner McLeod. Before we get into it, become part of the notification squad by hitting the bell next to the subscribe button. So let's get right into that LAFC match. That was a fantastic result at the end. Probably flattered us a little bit, but definitely a fun one in the stadium if you were there, or just watching at home, because it was just a plethora of goals. But it started off with a little bit of controversy with Chris McCann getting a red card initially and VAR overturning it. The very first overturning in VAR history. And we'll watch this McCann foul that ended up just being a yellow. Thank God, because we were all very, very worried. I think he comes in, you know, his studs are down. You know, it looks dangerous, definitely. But I think ultimately for me, the right call was made.
I think it was very borderline. I think that he put himself in a very, very precarious position. It was a very stupid tackle to make. He ran a long way to make it, especially 38 seconds into the match. My heart dropped when I saw the red card, because for me, from in the stands, in the supporter section, it looked like a red card, because you see a guy go flying into a challenge, and it's like, wow.
We only see the back of McCann, and
but I mean, McCann should know better than to do that early in a match.
Yes.
He kind of pulled out of it in the end. His studs were definitely down. I think yellow was the right call.
He got the ball first.
Yeah,
but
ball first doesn't always mean that it's not a red card. Right. I mean, I think to cite that exact example, there was a big controversy in the Premier League this weekend in the Manchester Derby, where Ashley Young made a tackle, his foot rode over the ball, and his studs went straight into the leg of Sergio Aguero. So you can win the ball now, and it still be, you know, it can still be a call. And so in McCann's situation, he stayed, you know, down on the ball. So I think the right call was made. I think VAR did a great job. I think that shows why VAR is so important. Because, I mean, without VAR, he's gone in 38 seconds, and they're playing an entire match against a very good LAFC team with 10 men. And it's like, that's 2 home matches in a row where the outcome of the match has basically been determined in the opening stages of the game before anything really has a chance to develop. So, you know, I was very, very nervous, but I think the right call was made, and good job VAR, and good job on the referee for getting the call right.
Absolutely, yeah, and it was a very tight one for most of the first half, even though pretty much the way we played this match, because of the personnel that was actually in the starting lineup, Tata played it perfectly. He had Miles Robinson as the right center back. He had McCann as the left center back. These are guys, you know, not very suited into the playing system of Tata, where you have to play out of the back. So we definitely sat back a little bit more than we're used to seeing them, and it worked out in our favor. I mean, LAFC had very few shots and only 1 on target the entire match. I
mean, it can actually kind of go into the last 2 matches that you can draw these comparisons with. The last 2 matches, Atlanta United has allowed 30 shots. Of those 30 shots, only 4 have actually been on target. And that's 17 from this past week, and only 1 was on target from LAFC. And this is a team that just finished up a 4-3 Derby loss, where they were absolutely sublime going forward against the Galaxy. Now, maybe that says more about the Galaxy and their issues, but at the same time, you're starting a player who is not a left center back at left center back in a back 3, and a former #2 overall draft pick who's very good, but who's never played in MLS before.
Yeah, it was his MLS debut, and what a debut it was.
I thought he did really well. I mean, I get that he's maybe not the ball-playing center back that fits the you know, the beautiful game, beautiful style of Tata.
And he's getting there. That's why he's at USL. He's there to develop that part of his game.
Yes, but I would also say when it came to defending, I thought he did a fantastic job.
I mean,
that's a big game to be put into against a very good team that's been flying high. Obviously, they're new, and as you know, we experienced last year, expansion sides can struggle on the road. It's a new experience.
They've been playing well on the road,
yeah,
too, though.
But I don't think they'd experience anything like this match. Obviously, they started off their season and got a win in Seattle, which is, a very good home field atmosphere. Obviously, we think we're better.
Yeah.
But I think
we showed that we were better.
But also in that first match, they were playing a very tired, rotated squad from Seattle, who just finished playing a few days before in the CONCACAF Champions League.
Right.
This Atlanta United squad had all their big guns out up top,
right.
And it's interesting because Atlanta, again, for the second week in a row, didn't win the possession battle. They played with a lot less of the ball than what we've grown accustomed to, especially at home.
Yeah.
In most home matches, we're used to seeing Atlanta have the ball 60% of the time, 55-60% of the time,
right.
and creating chances from that possession. In this scenario, in this match, it was a lot more of taking their chances when they got them and being clinical when they got those chances.
Exactly. I think we got to roll it back to Miles Robinson really quick. His intervention to stop Diogo Rossi, where he was pretty much through.
Was it still 0-0 at that point?
No, I think it was we were up 1, and so for him to pretty much stop that through ball where Rossi would have been 1-on-1 against Guzan. Yeah, that's it was so clutch, and he came out of nowhere.
I mean, when you go back, when I was watching it live, I had no idea where he came from. I was like, it's a 1-on-1, and then all of a sudden he just appeared and got in the way and stopped it. It was mad. When you go back and watch the replay, he runs all the way from his right center back position, covers 30 yards in a dead sprint, and gets all the way back to stop that. Exactly. I mean, in his MLS debut, that is fantastic. Right. That is great work rate, great hustle. And, to be able to get in and then immediately take up a defensive position to stop it. He squares up to Rossi, and it was really, really well done, something you'd expect from an experienced defender. And for me, we talked about it briefly in the fan cams, but obviously it's one match against a very good team.
Yeah, it's a small sample size.
I think, and we'll definitely get into it later about the NYCFC match, but he started. We thought Zizzo would play. Yeah. Robinson started and did really well. We talked about how he made a signing at center back. If he plays like that, you don't need to have a team full of ball-playing center backs because you got Parkhurst there. Yeah. He was very impressive on the right side of that defense, and maybe that answers a question long-term about who can fill that position. Yeah,
and it's also, he adds a dimension that we don't really have in the team, is an athletic
pace.
With pace center back. I guess Franco Escobar does kind of match that, but he's more of a right back, a right center back type of deal. So, it's a little bit different. He's a guy that can win. Robinson is a guy that can win a lot of balls in the air. He can do the defensive actions
and clearly win a foot race.
Yeah, he's big and he's pretty fast. I mean, it's a good dimension to have. It's good types of depth that we need, especially throughout a long season. So really, really good on that. And let's get through the other VAR calls that were also marred with controversy. So. Our first penalty was so Miggy drew a foul in the box. It was probably in my eyes a little soft, but at the end, their center back makes contact. It is what it is. The ball may have dribbled out. He may have embellished it a little bit, but VAR. I think ruled correctly, and it is what it is. I mean,
I think it was a soft penalty. I think maybe even the ball had gone to the point where it could have been a goal kick. It's a stupid challenge from the defender. Miggy sells it. He does get contact. He does draw contact. And I think it was the right decision. You can argue whether or not it's that has the ball's gone. How can it be a pen? It's still a stupid tackle. I mean, I think at the end of it, it's still the defender's fault. Miggy's put in a situation where it's like, okay, I can draw a penalty here. He's not gonna not draw a penalty if you have a defender diving in and doing something like that. So it's maybe it is a bit soft, but I still thought it was a pen. I still thought I got it right.
And a great note from the game was that Jeff Lorenowitz was yelling at Miggy when the ball went out of play and he was going over to take the corner, or maybe seemingly take a corner. Josef Martinez was telling him, don't do it. Like, pretty much, you know, that great awareness to let VAR decide the call and not, you know, if he already played the ball from the corner, then it pretty much, you know, there is no VAR call. So, you know, I think that was really great from Josef Martinez.
Yeah, it was brilliant. I mean, to have the awareness to realize, hey, VAR could get involved here, and to give them that time. Yeah. I think that's experience, even though obviously VAR is new, but that's just tactical and just experience, knowing the situation. And I think that shows you how much he brings to the squad and how important he is to be in his role, especially in that midfield role, because you know, he kind of can command everything. I thought that was just genius from him, and it worked out, and Miggy got his penalty and buried it, unlike his first one.
Unlike his first one against Houston earlier in the year.
Which also went left.
Yeah, which also went left, and another one that went left was his second penalty that he took. You know, another questionable.
I thought it was pretty straightforward.
But questionable move by LAFC in their defensive actions. It's like, why? Well, I mean, it's a young guy, Jao Moutinho. He's their super draft pick. I mean, he jumps up. He's part of the wall, and he goes both hands pretty much at his face. I get it.
Bold move, Cotton. Yeah. Let's see how it plays. Oh no, second yellow, red card penalty. Didn't play out for him. Yeah, didn't play off well at all, and you know, we get another penalty that he slots in quite nicely. Once again, if you're a keeper, he's going left. Like, not
he did it in the All-Star game. He did it.
It's like
Houston last year.
Don't get me wrong. As long as it goes in, I don't care. But it's like, at what point in time do you just question just the ability of opposing goalkeepers and goalkeeping coaches to realize if he gets the penalty, he's going that way? Like, I mean, who cares? He buried them. He got 2 goals. It's good for his confidence. It's good for just the team in general. I mean, you saw the videos. Well, I don't know if you did, but I definitely seen the videos that are out there of both Tito and Josef standing up when he's about to take those penalties. They're in it. They're ready. They want to see him make it. You can tell how close those guys are and how much they care. And you know, I think it'd be awesome if all 3 of those fellows can all get in double digits for goals. I think that'd be huge, and it just shows how deadly that entire attack is.
And here's one play that VAR didn't have a role in, but we think it should have. Laurent Simon, an elbow to the face of Josef. What did you think of that?
It was a red card. I mean, how the heck VAR or the ref or the assistant or the 4th official, because the 4th official was like a few yards away from the play. I mean, how none of them saw that is beyond me. It was a very clear elbow. It was raised. I thought it was a red. I thought it should be reviewed. I mean, maybe I'm biased, but...
No, I think if you look at Laurent Simon and what he does is he even checks to see if Josef's there, and then he pops him with that.
I mean, he hasn't even gotten retrospective punishment for violent conduct, which kind of blows my mind. Which is something that... Well, I don't know if MLS does it very often. It's something you see very often in European leagues, that if, especially with elbows, it happened to Sergio Aguero earlier this season, you know, they'll miss it and then they go back and they see it.
Yeah, it happened to Yamil Assad last year. He got retroactively suspended. So, I mean,
I'm surprised. I'm genuinely surprised, because I think it's pretty obvious.
And the thing is, he has a reputation of this. I mean, it's... You know, he's that type of player, so the fact is, I mean...
Well, he heard it the rest of the game.
Yeah, absolutely.
Every touch, everyone was on him.
Yeah, the 5-Star fam definitely...
we let our thoughts know. We made our thoughts known about him and his situation. But you know what? He lost 5-0, so at the end of the day, his loss, not ours.
And one last note, Romario Williams got his first MLS goal, and what a goal it was. He took on like 3 guys around him, and with his weaker foot, put it in from distance past the keeper at his near post. So, wow.
Yeah, it was a hell of a goal. All hats off to Romario for his first goal. I mean, you saw how much it meant to him. You know, he was very excited. I think he's worked hard. He deserves it. He's paid his dues.
Yeah, definitely.
So it's good to see a guy like that score. And it was a hell of a goal. I mean, I think that maybe MLS is getting a bit tired of Atlanta United winning goal of the week, because that was certainly a goal. I mean, again, like you said, he took on, seemed like, damn near their entire defense.
So with a goal like that, does Romario Williams deserve more minutes?
I think it's difficult. I mean, when you have a guy like Josef Martinez breaking MLS records and banging in basically a goal a game, it's difficult to get playtime over a guy like that, barring an injury.
Yeah.
I think that what happened in this match is actually, I agreed with it. I think maybe it's Tata learning some lessons from last season. You have a game that's done and dusted, it's sorted. Yeah. Bring on some subs, save those minutes because you're going to need them come the end of the season. And 10, 15 minutes, you know, here and now helps.
Yeah,
because especially when it becomes a grind at the end of the season, you know, that can be a make or break for players.
Right.
So I think that you have an option off the bench. I don't know if he'll be reliable because obviously it's just one goal. Hopefully we can see more. Hopefully he does develop into a reliable goal scorer who, if you know Josef does unfortunately get hurt, you have that. You have that depth. So, you know, I think it's a good thing, and maybe he plays some of the U.S. Open Cup matches, starts those. I think he definitely can score goals in that competition.
Right.
And, you know, if he can continue to do well in substitute appearances and maybe an occasional start, then yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, he was banging in goals at Charleston Battery. I mean, he definitely has deserved, you know, getting up into MLS again. He was with Montreal Impact, but he didn't get very many minutes. So yeah, definitely now he's, you know, he's definitely claiming a place as a backup striker to Josef Martinez, who is just so prolific.
Well, I mean, if you can score a goal like that, then that says something about your talent and your skill level. So, you know, we'll see what happens. But I think, you know, if you score a goal like that, you at least deserve another run out at some point in time, sometime soon. And
speaking of Josef Martinez, he has scored 24 goals in 25 games, which is an MLS record. That's just amazing right there. I mean, he is as prolific or more prolific than some of the best strikers in MLS history, including Thierry Henry, David Villa. I mean, that's
Javinko. I mean, and Stern John, who was the original goal scorer for everything, basically. Again, mentioning all-name team for sure.
Yeah.
But it's incredible. I mean, I still can't get over it. He's just a machine. I mean,
he's so clinical, so clinical.
He gets for another thing. Crazy thing is he's 5'7", and I feel like half of his goals have been headers. I mean, it's just.
And he can score with his left, he can score with his right, like impossible angles. I mean,
his body control in the air is. I mean, this goal that he scored this past week, again, similar to the goal that he got from Carlton. He just almost goes horizontal mid-air to adjust his body. I mean, and he's an incredible goal scorer.
What a goal, or what a assist it was from Gressel as well.
I mean,
you know,
incredible.
And for me, he was the man of the match with a goal and an assist.
Absolutely. I mean, his goal was well taken. A beautiful ball from Miggy as well.
Right.
And we'll definitely talk about it when we get into the preview for the next match. But Gressel continues to just absolutely blow me away with how well he's adapted to this position. I don't think he's ever played right wing back before, but his work rate's phenomenal. He had to play a bit of defense this week, did fantastic with that. And then his crosses are just unbelievable. He puts just fantastic service into the box. And
he
again,
can pull it back. He can, you know, stand it up. He can, you know,
do whatever you need. And it's you can't ask anything more from a wide player like that. And he has made himself undroppable. And even with Barco training and hopefully back on the side soon, I don't see. I mean, it's just incredible. He's honestly blown me away with how well he's played. And
Tata said it too. Like he's he was probably one of the first people off the bench. Now he is a first team player, is what Tata is saying. And
there's no argument that can be made against that with how he's playing. He already has 3 assists and a goal. I mean, 5 matches in from a wing back. That's incredible. I mean, it really is incredible. And his positional discipline and his tactical just awareness, especially on that first goal, to come all the way in from right wing back and be waiting at the back post and to have the composure to take that goal. Well done. I mean, it's incredible. I can't. I'm running out of superlatives to talk about.
For sure. Yeah. No. He is cementing a place in the team.
And another player who may well be making their way to the first team after a lot of sleuthing and watches and people finding him at the airport and stalking planes is Stefan Mbia. He is a 32-year-old Cameroonian international who plays as a holding midfielder. He's also a very big lad, standing 6'3", which would be something new and different to this team that definitely is challenged for height at certain points in time. He was recently released by his club in China, Hebei China Fortune, and you know, he's an experienced player, seen a lot of different leagues, and actually played with our technical director.
Exactly. Yeah, he's played with Carlos Bocanegra at Rennes, and man, that's what a small world. But they were actually spotted at the stadium, and so Mbia was watching this perfect game to attract a player to come to your team. I mean, what a game to catch. But you know, so there is lots of speculation because he is almost a perfect type of player that we could need, almost maybe in the place of Laronowitz, or you know, as depth, if he has anything left. We have no idea, but he's a guy that's pretty pacey for a defensive midfielder. He wins a lot of balls in the air.
Goes along with being 6'3".
Yeah, goes along with being 6'3". He can pick out a pass as well, and he can play some center back. It seems like the perfect fit. He is 32. But he brings boatloads of experience.
I mean, it's a depth signing, but I mean, also, it's not like he's a bum. He's obviously played in China recently, but he's played in some big teams and played in some big games. He started Sevilla's most recent Europa League win when they won the cup. He played very well for that team. He's played at Marseille. He's a big player who's played in big leagues and has that experience that, you know, was similar to what Carlos Carmona had. Honestly, even more when it comes to big game experience in Europe. So maybe he's a bit older, but I think when it comes to depth, because with the way that United are playing right now, you don't need to insert anyone new into that lineup. But I think he could bring a lot to the team, especially later in a game when a team's maybe pumping the ball with, you know, into the box. You need a height, which there's not a lot of on that team. He gives you an option. He gives you an option if someone gets hurt, which is something United don't really have right now. So I think it'd be a good signing. I don't think it'd be very expensive, and he'd be on a free. And if you sign a player like him for depth, and Miles Robinson's playing well at center back, there are the signings we were worried about. There's the depth we were worried about. Bish bash bosh, problem sorted.
And our USL squad had a game this past weekend as well to complete a undefeated weekend. A happy weekend for all Five Stripe fans.
Or Seven Stripe.
Or Seven Stripes, exactly. And so essentially, Atlanta United 2 played to a draw that was very hard fought. They came from behind with a counter of dreams from, so Josef Samuel starts this counter with a through ball to Lagos Kunga, who puts a perfect ball in for John Gallagher to head it in off the post and kind of just bounce around into the goal, but well-deserved at the end, and it's an undefeated start for the campaign for Atlanta United 2. So in the news this week, our captain, Michael Parkhurst, Julian Gressel, Miguel Almiron, and our coach, Tata Martino, all make the MLS Team of the Week. Very much well-deserved. They, you know, they killed it this game, so why not?
Yeah, after 5-0, it's not a shocker that they feature heavily in that. In some other news, Lagos Kunga wins not only goal of the week, but goal of the month for the USL for his awesome goal against Charlotte Independence, where he cut in off the right side and somehow manages to find the back of the net from almost an impossible angle. In fact, Josef Samuel gets up on Twitter and says, "Hey man, next time, why don't you cross the ball?" To which Lagos replies, "I don't understand what you're talking about. If you keep finishing like that," in French, "if you keep finishing like that, keep shooting, my man." Brilliant goal, well deserved.
Oh, it was crazy. In the topic of VAR, Tata Martino told the press that he really kind of still is on the fence about VAR in general, even though a lot of the calls went in our favor. I mean, he's saying that it essentially takes up a lot of time and maybe messes with the flow a little bit, where he would have been okay for it just to have continued on and not gotten the calls. I mean, even though we got all these calls, he's feeling that way. That speaks a lot about VAR.
He definitely has some strong opinions of it. I humbly disagree with Tata because I'd prefer not playing a whole match with 10 people. So, you know, yes. Tata, his opinions, I respect them, but I'm cool with it going in our favor. Maybe one day I'll change my tune if it goes against us, but as of right now, I'm cool with it.
Yeah, right now it's all gravy, and so, you know, VAR is definitely our friend at the moment. And James Bryan, an Atlanta United Academy player, my God, Zlatan, you know, who are you? Because basically he does this just as well, maybe a little bit from deeper.
Oh, it's definitely from deeper. I mean, my man's in the center circle when he hits this. This is a world-class goal, even at that age. Yeah. This is why keepers should not go off their line for a long time.
Yeah, and not too far. And the ball dragged the keeper into the net as well. Wow.
I mean, when you have that and you pull that out of your locker, even in the academy, that's going to catch some eyes and get you moved up to some higher age levels. So, hell of a goal, young man. Keep working hard, and hopefully we can see you execute that over in the bin someday. And for those of you who may not know, how CONCACAF Champions League determines some of its spots is that they keep a running table over 2 seasons, and the top US-based team over those 2 seasons will get automatic qualification into the CONCACAF Champions League. As of right now, Atlanta United sits in 2nd behind NYCFC with 67 points to NYCFC 70, which puts an even bigger emphasis on this match this weekend, because I think we all would agree that it'd be awesome to see Atlanta United playing on what, in a sense, is the biggest competition in CONCACAF. So again, NYCFC is in 1st with 70 points, and Atlanta United is in 2nd with 67. More points, more wins, hey, we can get in the CONCACAF Champions League. For me, I'd prefer winning the MLS Cup to get on in, but hey, if we get in on points, I'm okay with that as well. And for a first team injury update, as of today, Tuesday, Escobar and Vajalba were not training. Bit unfortunate. Escobar obviously still in concussion protocol, recovering from getting absolutely tanked by Brad Guzan. And then Tito, bit of a hamstring issue. Some people think that's why he was taken off so early in the match this past weekend. Hamstrings can be a very finicky thing. You can ask Miggy, he had that at the end of last season. But also, here's the good news, guys. Barco, back in training. The boat has arrived for the first team to actually play in MLS, hopefully. And also, Greg Garza, got our left back back. So, left back. But I mean, I think it's excellent to see Barco back in training. It's definitely got to be a lift.
Yeah.
For your record signing, finally going to be able to hopefully play and suit up for a big match this weekend.
Definitely, yeah. And, you know, the standings as they shake out right now, NYCFC is the top of the Eastern Conference, and we're right underneath them. And so this makes the onus on this match at the Benz super, super important.
I mean, you got to think right now, NYCFC potentially could be as much as 4 points ahead. They play a match tomorrow against Real Salt Lake.
Right.
They've traditionally not played well against Real Salt Lake.
Yeah.
And they could be missing David Villa, who could be questionable even for this weekend.
Right.
So it's big. I mean, if they drop points, there is a very high probability that if Atlanta United win this weekend, they're going top of the table in the Eastern Conference, which is a place I don't think we've occupied before.
We've occupied it early of last season, but other than that, no. I mean, so
I think that this is a match that if you win and you go top of the table, it's a position that Atlanta could hold on to and make their own for a while. Last season, obviously, you have the big win over Minnesota, so you go top on goal difference.
Right.
But this is different. This is, you know, 6 games into the season where you thought it was going to be a catastrophe after losing that first match 4-0.
Yeah.
Now you're bouncing all the way back, 1-4 on the bounce. Now you've got a big boy coming in, a real big boy who knows what they're doing. They've been around the league. They've gotten points. They know what to do. This is a big match. Yeah,
definitely. And, you know, they're flying high off of a lot of young players, you know, Rodney Wallace, you know, and their new signing, Jesus Medina. I mean, yeah, they're doing things the right way, and, you know, it's showing. And we have a tough one on our hands. It's going to be, you know, I really have no idea how it's going to play out, but I have my hopes. So, you know, I think for me, you know, with the questions we have around our lineup and with, you know, Barco maybe coming in, how do you see us lining up?
I don't know. I think it's It's a really interesting, but I guess a useful conundrum for Tata to have when you have this many talented players available to you. I think that Robinson's, if he goes to 3 at the back, which I think he will, I think Robinson's going to start again at right center back. I think he played very well, and it makes no sense for him to get dropped after that performance.
Yeah.
I think you'll see LGP step back in at left center back, and I think that quite possibly, if United continue to play a back 3 going forward, that could be your back 3, depending on how he plays.
Yeah.
If Robinson plays well again on the weekend, I have complete confidence in him to keep going forward in that role. I think you'll see McCann start at left wing back. I think that especially against a team that's good going forward, like NYCFC, and with Garza potentially still being a bit touch and go coming off an injury, knowing his injury record, I think McCann would be a smart play, maybe a bit more defensive balance there. Gressel, obviously, starting at right wing back. I think the issue more comes into, does Tito play? If Tito's not playing because of his hamstring injury, how fit is Barco? For me, I think if Barco's fit to play 60+ minutes, I think you start him. I think that he has the ability to contribute in that NYCFC haven't seen him play really in a competitive game for United. They haven't seen him play in this system. So if you're Patrick Vieira and you're getting handed the team sheets an hour before kickoff and you see Barco there, you have no film on him. You can kind of instruct your players how to match up against him, but you also don't know how Atlanta are going to line up if he plays. Because in his brain, he's thinking, okay, he's playing on the left. For me, if they continue with a 3-5-2, you know he can play through the middle as a number 10. He has the talent to do that. I would give him more of a free role to do that and wreak havoc, because playing him at home in front of the home fans is the best way for him to get that first appearance with the first team.
That's
so
fair. Sure.
I think you could see him maybe playing in that number kind of withdrawn 10 role in a 3-5-2, you could say, maybe a 3-5-1-1.
And so is Miggy up top on that?
No, I still have Miggy in midfield on that. I think that Miggy has offered great work rate from midfield. I think that he's done a very good job in the position he's been playing. And I think that Tito hasn't exactly been playing as a striker necessarily with his positioning, so he's been kind of given a bit more of a free role, and I think you could see Barco easily fit into that and you know, create chances. But again, I have genuinely no idea how Tata's going to put these things together. With how they've been playing and their defensive solidarity, I'm wanting to stick with the 3-5-2, especially against a team such as NYCFC.
I agree with you that it's going to be a 3-5-2. I think it's going to shake out just a little bit differently. I think with, you know, the inclusion of Kevin Kratz at the end of the match, it definitely helped with connecting passes and finding, you know, Gressel on the wing and stuff like that. You know, keeping the ball is definitely a lot easier with Kratz in the team. And so I think he steps in, and in place of Tito, Miguel Miron plays as that second striker with Martinez. So for me, it would be maybe like a Nagbe, Lorenowitz, and Kratz as, you know, your midfield 3.
That's not bad though. I mean, again, Kratz's ball to Gressel to set up that second goal was phenomenal. I mean, it was a classy, cultured, over-the-top pass to Gressel, who just took it in stride. So I mean, he offers you a lot from any set piece and dead ball situation. You know who's taking him in Kratz. He offers you composure on the ball. I mean, that's a solid midfield 3 that you have there, and I think that's a very valid option. Then you have the option of bringing Barco off the bench, which is not a bad gig either. If he can get, you know, 30 minutes or so, that's brilliant. So we'll see what happens. Tata has a lot of options at his disposal, and that's a good problem to have.
Yeah, it's an embarrassment of riches, and you know, especially this is a guy he has broke the transfer fee record in MLS. That's, you know, and he's a guy that hasn't even played yet. Wow.
I'm excited. Who knows if he's match fit enough and able to play? I hope he is. I'm ready to see him. I'm dying to see him play in person in a match that matters. So all that considered, 6 p.m. come Sunday. 2 hours later, what do you think the result's going to be?
I think it's a very, very tough one. I have to be just a little neutral on it, I guess, then. So I think it's a 2-2 draw. There's always going to be goals at the Benz. So, you know, 4 is a lot. We probably, you know, I think maybe we concede one a little early, but we're able to come back, and, you know, it just ends up level at the end.
For me, I've been really negative for those of you who've been watching the last few weeks, I've definitely been picking against Atlanta United. I haven't felt comfortable. Maybe I kind of feel weird that I do feel comfortable. They're playing a midweek fixture. David Villa still isn't fully fit. I don't know if he'll be fully fit for the weekend. If he is, he still hasn't played in a while, so he still has to slide back into that. They have not played in the bins yet. They played at Bobby Dodd. It'll be a new experience for them. The crowd's gonna be fired up, especially knowing that they could potentially be seeing Barco. With how Atlanta's been playing, I think that honestly, LAFC might have a more dynamic attack with the players that they have at full fitness. The defense handled them incredibly well, especially over the last 2 games. I'm going to go for a 3-1 win. And honestly, it wouldn't surprise me if they blanked NYCFC because the defense has been playing very well. They've adapted a new style of play. My gut says 3-1. I think NYCFC are good enough to get one and break our clean sheet streak we got going on right now. But I think they're flying, and the home form that this team's displaying, especially when the big players are fit. I mean, the only matches they really dropped last season at home, Minnesota, players weren't fully fit and you had a guy get sent off. Toronto, which is, obviously they won the cup, really good team. Javinko was fantastic that game.
Well, we drew, so.
And I mean, and then Orlando, which was just a crazy rivalry game, 6 goals, Josef hat-trick. I mean, those are the only points that have been dropped in the bins. So you're looking at a total of, what, 2, 4, 7 points dropped out of quite a few games. They're playing well. I'm going to go with Atlanta United 3-1.
I love it. I love it. That's it's bullish, and I can't disagree with it. So, and I hope that happens. I hope we get the W over the weekend.
And to wrap things up on today's episode, we'll get right into our question of the day. We've talked about VAR a lot, and it featured quite a bit in this match this past weekend. And we now know Tata's feelings about it all. But for us, our question is, what do you think about VAR? Do you like it? Do you not? Why do you like it? Why don't you like it? I mean, I'm curious because this is definitely something that I think is the future of the game. I think it's here. I think it's going to be everywhere very soon. It's going to be at the World Cup this summer. But a lot of people, traditionalists, they don't like it. I think it offers pros and cons, but get down in the comments, hit us up on Twitter. I'm actually quite curious to see what you guys think.
So that's it for us today. Remember to smash a like, remember to subscribe if you haven't. And for Tanner McLeod, I'm AJ. Thank you guys so much for watching.